Agnes had always been a loving and devoted wife to Jerry. Their marriage, though filled with struggles, was built on hope and perseverance. For 3 long years, they endured financial hardships together, holding on to the dream that one day things would get better. Then one fateful day, Jerry received an invitation to a high-profile business meeting. He had always been ambitious, and this opportunity seemed like the breakthrough they had been praying for. Agnes had kissed him goodbye that morning, wishing him success, completely unaware that life as she knew it was about to change. Days passed, and Agnes waited eagerly for her husband to return, but he never did. At first, she thought he was just busy. She called repeatedly, but he never answered. Messages were left unread. Her heart ached with worry. What was going on? Then the shocking news came. A friend informed her that Jerry was staying at a luxurious hotel in town. Confused and desperate for answers, Agnes rushed to the hotel. As she stepped inside, her heart pounded against her chest. She searched the lobby, and then there he was. Jerry stood in the middle of the elegant hotel lounge, dressed in expensive clothes, looking different, richer, more confident. But he wasn't alone. A young, stunning woman stood beside him, holding his arm possessively. Agnes's breath caught in her throat. She marched toward them, her voice shaking. "Jerry, what is going on? I have been calling you for days. You told me about the contract. Did you win it? And who is this woman?" Before Jerry could respond, the woman sneered and spoke first. "I'm Linda, Jerry's wife now. He doesn't have time for a big pig like you." Agnes felt as though the air had been knocked out of her lungs. "How dare you call me a pig?" she whispered, her voice filled with pain. She turned to Jerry, searching his face for any sign of remorse, but there was none. "Agnes," Jerry said coldly, "don't bother looking for me again. I'm done with you." Her world shattered. "I'll send you some money to take care of yourself," he continued. "Also, my lawyer will bring you the divorce papers. Sign them." Tears welled in Agnes's eyes. "So you don't love me anymore? Just because you got rich? Because I'm fat?" Jerry avoided her gaze. Instead, he turned to Linda and, without hesitation, pulled her closer and kissed her. Agnes's heart broke into a million pieces. Just then, a man who had been walking past stopped, staring at Agnes with a look of recognition. "Excuse me, are you Agnes?" Still in shock, Agnes turned to the stranger. She studied his face, and suddenly she gasped. "Oh my God! Sam?" Sam, her childhood neighbor, the boy she had gone to school with. The one she hadn't seen in years. But now, standing before her was not the boy she remembered. This was a powerful and wealthy man. "I've missed you," Sam said with a warm smile. Tears streamed down Agnes's face. "I missed you too." Sam's expression darkened as he glanced at Jerry and Linda. "I saw what just happened. Is that your husband?" Agnes choked back a sob. "He was my husband until now. He called me fat and threw me away for someone else. After 3 years of marriage, he's divorcing me." Sam's jaw clenched. "Interesting," he said. Agnes's eyes widened in shock. "What do you mean?" "Because I'm the one who approved the contract," Sam continued, his voice filled with determination. "Don't worry. I'll handle it." Jerry and Linda disappeared into the hotel, leaving Agnes standing there, heartbroken and lost. Sam turned to her and asked gently, "Can I take you home?" She wiped her tears. "I don't have a home anymore," she whispered. Sam's gaze softened. "Then come with me. You can stay at my house as long as you like." Agnes hesitated. "But what about your wife? How are you going to explain bringing a fat woman into your home?" Sam chuckled. "I don't have a wife yet," he said. "So you're free." And with that, he led her away toward a new beginning. The drive to Sam's house was quiet. Agnes stared out the window, her mind heavy with thoughts. Just hours ago, she had been a married woman, holding onto the hope that her husband would return home with good news. Now, she was homeless, humiliated, and abandoned. Sam stole a glance at her as he drove. "You don't have to keep thinking about it, Agnes," he said softly. "I know it hurts, but you'll be fine." She let out a bitter chuckle. "Fine? How can I be fine, Sam? I gave Jerry everything. I stayed with him when we had nothing, hoping that someday we would have a better life. And now that he has money, he sees me as useless. Sam sighed. Some people change when they get money, but trust me, Agnes, Jerry's actions say more about him than they do about you. They pulled up in front of a massive mansion. Agnes's eyes widened as she took in the grand building with its tall pillars, lush gardens, and sparkling fountains. Sam, this is your house? Sam smiled. One of them, he said as he stepped out of the car and walked around to open the door for her. She hesitated. Are you sure it's okay for me to stay here? Of course, Sam reassured her. Come on, let's go inside. The interior was even more stunning than the outside. Chandeliers hung from the ceiling. Expensive furniture decorated the space, and the whole house smelled like luxury. You must be hungry, Sam said. Let me get you something to eat. Agnes shook her head. No, let me cook. It will keep my mind busy. Sam raised an eyebrow. You sure? She nodded. Yes, cooking makes me feel better. He smiled. All right then. The kitchen is yours. Agnes walked into the kitchen and gasped. It was huge, with modern appliances, polished marble counters, and shelves stocked with the best ingredients. She opened the cabinets, looking for what she needed when something caught her eye. A Chinese weight loss book. Curious, she picked it up and flipped through the pages. It contained detailed recipes for herbal teas and diet plans that helped with weight loss. As she read, she felt a spark of hope. Interested in that book? Sam's voice startled her. She turned to see him leaning against the doorway, smiling. This was my mother's, he continued. She used to be overweight when I was a kid, but she followed the steps in that book and now she's completely transformed. Agnes's eyes widened. Really? Do you have a picture of her? Sam pulled out his phone and showed her a picture. Agnes gasped. The woman in the picture was slim, elegant, and absolutely stunning. She looks amazing, Agnes said in awe. Sam nodded. She worked hard for it. If you want to try it, I can help you. For the first time that day, Agnes smiled. I think I'll give it a shot. And just like that, a new chapter of her life began. For the first few days, Agnes barely left her room. The pain of Jerry's betrayal was still fresh, and no matter how much she tried to push it away, the memories kept haunting her. She kept asking herself, was I really that unworthy? Did my weight make me undeserving of love? Sam gave her space, but he was always there when she needed company. He made her laugh, told her stories from their childhood, and slowly Agnes began to feel lighter, not in body but in spirit. Then one morning, she made a decision. She walked into the kitchen, picked up the Chinese weight loss book, and read it carefully. It wasn't just about drinking tea or starving. It was a complete lifestyle change. It included natural remedies, a healthy diet, and simple exercises. Sam walked in and saw her reading. So you're serious about this? He asked with a knowing smile. Agnes nodded. I want to do this, Sam. Not for Jerry, not for revenge, but for myself. I want to feel confident again. He grinned. That's the spirit. And don't worry, I'll support you all the way. The first few days were tough. Agnes had to change her eating habits, drink herbal teas that tasted strange, and do light exercises. At first, she struggled. She was used to eating heavy meals, and adjusting to a controlled diet felt like punishment. One evening, after a long day of trying to follow the routine, Agnes sat on the couch, exhausted. Sam joined her with 2 glasses of lemon-infused water. Tired? He asked, handing her a glass. She sighed. Very. I never knew making a change would be this hard. Sam chuckled. Everything worthwhile takes effort. But I can already see a difference. She raised an eyebrow. You're just saying that to make me feel better. No, I'm serious, Sam said. You have this glow now. Not just on the outside, but inside too. Agnes blushed. No one had ever made her feel this way before. Not even Jerry. She quickly looked away, sipping her drink to hide her flustered expression. Days turned into weeks. Agnes remained consistent with her routine, and soon she started noticing changes. Her clothes became looser. Her face looked slimmer, and she felt more energetic than ever before. Every time she looked in the mirror, she saw a new version of herself, a stronger, more confident woman. One evening, Sam took her to a business event. As they walked in, all eyes turned to them. Agnes, dressed in a stunning black gown, held her head high, her confidence radiating through the room. "You look breathtaking," Sam whispered in her ear. She smiled. "Thank you, Sam, for everything." And for the first time in a long while, Agnes felt truly happy. Agnes's transformation was nothing short of incredible. In just a few months, she had shed the weight that once made her insecure, but more importantly, she had gained confidence and a new sense of purpose. Every morning, she woke up feeling stronger. She exercised, ate healthy meals, and followed the herbal tea routine religiously. With Sam's constant encouragement, she pushed herself beyond her limits. She no longer cried over Jerry. Instead, she focused on becoming the best version of herself. One evening, Sam invited her to a high-profile business gala. "You've been working so hard," he said. "You deserve to enjoy yourself." At first, Agnes hesitated. She hadn't been to an event like that in years. "What if people judge me?" she asked. Sam chuckled. "Trust me, Agnes. When they see you, they won't be judging. They'll be staring in admiration." Encouraged by his words, she decided to go. She wore a breathtaking red gown that hugged her new figure perfectly. When she stepped out of her room, Sam's jaw nearly dropped. "Wow," he whispered. "You look stunning." Agnes blushed. "You think so?" "I know so," he said, offering her his arm. The event was grand. Business tycoons, celebrities, and influential people filled the hall, chatting and laughing over glasses of champagne. Agnes felt slightly nervous, but reminded herself that she belonged here. As she and Sam mingled, she noticed people sneaking glances at her, whispering. At first, she thought they were gossiping about her, but then she realized they were admiring her. She was no longer the insecure woman who had been tossed aside. She was confident, elegant, and radiating beauty. Then the unexpected happened. Across the room, she spotted a familiar face. Jerry. Her heart skipped a beat. He was standing with Linda, but something was different. He no longer looked confident and proud. He looked stressed. Jerry's eyes wandered around the room, and then they landed on Agnes. His brows furrowed as he stared, confusion clear on his face. He nudged Linda. "Who is that woman? She looks familiar." Linda glanced at Agnes and shrugged. "I don't know, but she's beautiful." Jerry took a few steps forward, eyes still locked on Agnes. Then realization hit him like a thunderbolt. His mouth fell open. "Agnes?" he whispered in disbelief. Agnes smirked, tilting her head slightly. "Hello, Jerry." Jerry's eyes scanned her from head to toe, struggling to believe what he was seeing. You look different." She smiled. "I know." Sam, who had been watching silently, finally spoke. "Is there a problem, Jerry?" Jerry swallowed hard. I didn't recognize her." His voice was filled with regret. Agnes leaned in slightly and whispered, "That's because the woman you threw away no longer exists." Jerry stood frozen, realization dawning on him that he had made the biggest mistake of his life. Linda tugged at his arm. "Jerry, why are you looking at her like that?" He blinked and forced a chuckle. "I'm just surprised." Linda frowned. "Surprised about what?" Jerry cleared his throat. "Nothing," he muttered, turning away. But deep inside, he knew it wasn't nothing. He had thrown Agnes away, believing she was unworthy of him. But now, seeing her with Sam, looking more radiant than ever, he felt a pang of regret so deep it made his stomach turn. Meanwhile, Agnes remained composed. She refused to let Jerry see any sign of weakness. The woman he had humiliated and abandoned was gone. Sam smirked, watching Jerry's discomfort. "You know, Jerry," he said casually, "Agnes has been doing amazing things lately. She's grown into a remarkable woman." Jerry forced a tight smile. "Yeah, I can see that." His jaw clenched as he looked at Sam. "So, what's going on between you two?" Sam's smile widened. Agnes is my fiancée. Jerry's eyes widened in shock. What? Agnes held up her hand, showing off a stunning diamond ring. Yes, Jerry. Sam and I are engaged. For a moment, Jerry felt dizzy. The woman he had abandoned was now with one of the most powerful men in the country. He had expected her to suffer without him, to beg for his help. Instead, she had transformed into someone far beyond his reach. Linda, sensing Jerry's reaction, laughed mockingly. Oh, Jerry, don't tell me you still care about her. Jerry quickly masked his emotions. Of course not, he lied. I was just surprised, that's all. Agnes gave him a knowing smile. Well, life is full of surprises. Just then, Sam's assistant approached with a file in hand. Sir, the report you requested. Sam took the file and flipped through it, nodding. Thank you. Then he turned back to Jerry. Speaking of surprises, Jerry, I need to discuss something important with you. Jerry frowned. What is it? Sam's expression turned serious. The contract we awarded you, I've gone through the reports, and I'm not happy with what I see. Jerry's heart pounded. What do you mean? Sam folded his arms. Your company has failed to deliver on several key aspects of the project. If you don't complete the work within the next month, you'll be required to refund the full amount. Jerry's face turned pale. Sam, please, you have to give me more time. Sam shrugged. Business is business, Jerry. And from this moment forward, you will report directly to Agnes every week. Jerry's heart sank. The woman he had discarded was now the one holding his fate in her hands. Jerry sat in his office, gripping his head in frustration. His life was falling apart. The contract he had once celebrated now felt like a curse. He had thought he was invincible after securing that multi-million deal. But now, the very man who gave it to him, Sam, was demanding results, and he was nowhere close to delivering. To make things worse, Agnes was now in control of his reports. He couldn't believe it. Linda strutted into the office, chewing gum loudly. What's with the long face? She asked, dropping onto the couch. Jerry glared at her. Do you even understand what's happening, Linda? If I don't complete this project in a month, I have to refund all the money. Do you know what that means? Linda rolled her eyes. Relax, Jerry. You're overthinking. You're rich now. We'll figure something out. Jerry slammed his hand on the desk. Figure it out? The money is almost gone, Linda. We've been living lavishly, throwing parties, spending on expensive vacations. There's barely enough left to complete the project. Linda scoffed. So what are you saying? That we're broke. Jerry rubbed his face. Not yet, but if I can't fix this, we will be. Linda stood up angrily. Then fix it. I didn't leave my comfort to be with a loser. If you can't handle the business, maybe I should find someone who can. Jerry's eyes darkened. Are you serious right now? Linda shrugged. I followed you because you had money. If you lose it, what's left? Jerry felt like someone had slapped him. It was at that moment he realized the truth. Linda had never loved him. She had only been with him for the luxury and lifestyle. Just like he had discarded Agnes, Linda was ready to discard him. He slumped into his chair, suddenly feeling empty. At Sam's company, Agnes sat confidently behind her desk as Jerry entered the office. She had been waiting for this moment, not out of revenge, but because she had worked hard to reach this position. And now, she had the power to demand accountability. Jerry hesitated before speaking. Agnes, I need more time on the project. She raised an eyebrow. More time? The deadline was already generous. What exactly have you been doing with the funds? He swallowed hard. I miscalculated. I thought. You thought Sam wouldn't notice, she interrupted. You thought you could get away with taking the money and not delivering results. Jerry remained silent. Agnes leaned forward. This is business, Jerry. I will not cover for your mistakes. You have 4 weeks to fix this mess, or you'll be forced to refund every single penny. Jerry's heart pounded. He could see it now. Agnes was no longer the helpless woman he abandoned. She was in charge. And for the first time, he truly regretted everything. Jerry left Agnes's office with his head hanging low. His hands trembled as he gripped his phone. He had never imagined he would one day be at Agnes's mercy. The woman he had called a big pig was now the one holding his fate in her hands. He tried everything to save the project. He made desperate calls, tried to get investors, and even attempted to reach out to Sam for an extension. But it was too late. No one wanted to help a man who had mismanaged millions. Then the worst happened. 2 weeks before the deadline, Linda packed her bags and left. "I'm not going to sit around and watch you go bankrupt," she said coldly, tossing her engagement ring onto the table. "I thought you were a winner, Jerry, but you're just another loser." Jerry watched in shock as she walked out, leaving him completely alone. The very woman he had betrayed Agnes for had abandoned him the moment things got tough. Karma had come full circle. At Sam's company, Agnes sat at her desk, reviewing Jerry's final project report. As expected, it was a disaster. The work was incomplete, and there were multiple financial discrepancies. She sighed and picked up her phone. "Sam, Jerry has failed to deliver. We need to proceed with the refund process." Sam, always calm, responded, "I expected this. Let's move forward with legal action." The next day, Jerry received an official letter from the company. He was being sued for breach of contract and mismanagement of funds. His accounts would be frozen, and if he failed to pay back the money, his properties would be seized. Jerry rushed to Agnes's office, pleading, "Agnes, please. I made a mistake. I was foolish. Don't let them take everything from me." His voice cracked with desperation. Agnes looked at him with a calm expression. "When you left me, Jerry, did you stop to think about how I would survive? Did you care that I had nothing?" He lowered his head in shame. "You didn't," she continued. "And now you want mercy?" Tears welled in Jerry's eyes. "Agnes, please. I know I don't deserve it, but I'm begging you." Agnes exhaled deeply. A part of her felt pity for him, but she knew he had to face the consequences of his choices. "This is not about revenge, Jerry. This is about responsibility. You wasted your opportunity, and now you have to deal with the results." Jerry fell to his knees, sobbing. But Agnes had made up her mind. The company proceeded with the lawsuit, and within weeks, Jerry lost everything: his cars, his mansion, and his reputation. He had gone from being a wealthy businessman to a man with nothing. Meanwhile, Agnes's life was blossoming. She had not only transformed physically, but had also grown into a strong, confident woman. She and Sam's relationship deepened, and soon they announced their wedding. On the day of the wedding, as Agnes stood in front of the mirror in her stunning white dress, she smiled. She had once thought losing Jerry was the worst thing that could happen to her. But in reality, it was the best thing that had ever happened. She had found herself. She had found love. And most importantly, she had won. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about Agnes's journey? Let's discuss. Agnes stood in front of the mirror, her heart filled with emotions she never thought she would feel again: happiness, confidence, and self-worth. The reflection staring back at her was not just a slimmer woman, but a woman reborn. The white wedding gown hugged her perfectly toned body, a testament to the months of hard work, discipline, and self-love. Her face glowed, not just from makeup, but from the inner strength she had built through every tear, every heartbreak, and every small victory. Sam knocked softly on the door. "Are you ready, Agnes?" She turned, smiling warmly. "I've never been more ready in my life." Sam's eyes softened as he stepped inside, his gaze fixed on her. "You look breathtaking." Agnes's heart fluttered. The way Sam looked at her made her feel more beautiful than she ever had before. "Thank you, Sam. For everything. For believing in me when I couldn't believe in myself." Sam stepped closer, gently taking her hand. "I didn't just believe in you, Agnes. I always knew you were special, you just needed to see it for yourself." Tears welled up in her eyes, but this time they were tears of joy. A few hours later, the wedding ceremony began. The hall was filled with friends, family, and business associates. Everyone was in awe of Agnes's transformation. Whispers echoed through the room. "Is that really Agnes? She looks stunning. She doesn't even look like the same woman." Jerry stood among the crowd, watching from the shadows. He had lost everything, his money, his status, and now the woman he had once discarded like trash. His heart ached as he realized the biggest mistake of his life was letting Agnes go. Linda had left him without a second thought, moving on to another wealthy man within weeks. Now, Jerry was completely alone, living in a small rented apartment, struggling to pay bills. He couldn't believe how life had turned against him so quickly. But deep down, he knew it wasn't life that had betrayed him. He had betrayed himself. As Agnes walked down the aisle, radiating beauty and confidence, Jerry's heart clenched. He wished he could turn back time, but it was too late. Agnes's eyes met his for a brief moment, but there was no anger, no bitterness, only calm indifference. It was the final blow. He no longer had any power over her. She had moved on. The ceremony was perfect. When Sam and Agnes exchanged vows, the entire room was filled with emotion. "I promise to stand by your side," Sam said, his voice steady, "to support your dreams, to love you as you are, and to never let you forget how beautiful and strong you are." Agnes's voice trembled as she replied, "I promise to love myself first, to never settle for less than I deserve, and to love you with all my heart for showing me what true love really means." The crowd erupted in applause as they sealed their vows with a kiss. Later at the reception, Agnes stood by the balcony, watching the city lights. Sam wrapped his arms around her from behind. "What are you thinking?" he whispered. Agnes smiled. "I'm thinking, if Jerry hadn't left me, I never would have found myself." Sam kissed her gently on the temple. "Sometimes the worst heartbreak leads us to the best love." Agnes leaned into his embrace, her heart finally at peace. She had lost everything once, her marriage, her self-esteem, her sense of worth. But in the end, she gained something far greater: herself. Months later, Jerry's life continued to spiral. The lawsuit had drained him of everything. He worked odd jobs just to survive. Every night, he lay awake in his tiny apartment, haunted by memories of the life he threw away. One rainy evening, he stood outside Sam and Agnes's mansion, watching from a distance. He saw Agnes laughing, her eyes sparkling with happiness as she played with Sam in the garden. Jerry's heart ached. That could have been his life. If only he had seen her worth before it was too late. But some mistakes can never be undone. Agnes never looked back. She was too busy moving forward. And the greatest revenge is living a life so beautiful, those who hurt you can't help but regret losing you. Agnes's life blossomed in ways she had never imagined. Each day was a testament to her strength and resilience. Her mornings began with meditation and light exercises, followed by a healthy breakfast. She kept following the herbal remedies from the Chinese weight loss book, not just to lose weight, but to maintain a lifestyle that made her feel alive. Sam stood by her side every step of the way, encouraging her and reminding her how beautiful she was. Their bond grew stronger with every passing day. What started as childhood friendship turned into an unbreakable connection built on trust, respect, and unconditional love. One morning, Agnes stood in front of the mirror, wearing a fitted white blouse and black trousers. The woman staring back at her was unrecognizable, slim, radiant, and confident. For the first time in years, Agnes loved what she saw. She gently ran her fingers down her reflection. "I did this for me." Sam walked into the room, smiling. "And I'm so proud of you." Agnes turned to him, her eyes sparkling. "I never thought I could be this woman, Sam. I never thought I could feel beautiful again." Sam stepped closer, cupping her face. "You were always beautiful, Agnes. The only difference now is you finally see it." Agnes's eyes filled with tears. She had spent years believing she wasn't enough, not for Jerry, not for anyone. But now, she realized the only person she ever needed to be enough for was herself. Weeks passed, and Agnes's life took another turn. Sam encouraged her to start her own catering business. Cooking had always been her passion, and now she had the confidence to pursue it. He helped her rent a small shop in the city, investing in the business as her silent partner. Agnes named it Agnes Delights, a symbol of her new beginning. At first, business was slow. But Agnes poured her heart into every meal she prepared, adding her personal touch to every dish. Word began to spread about the woman who not only cooked delicious food, but served every customer with warmth and kindness. Within months, Agnes Delights became one of the most popular catering businesses in the city. Newspapers wrote articles about her incredible transformation, the woman who went from a betrayed housewife to a successful business owner. People admired not just her weight loss journey, but her determination to rebuild her life. One day, as Agnes was arranging desserts in the shop, the bell above the door jingled. She looked up and froze. Jerry stood at the entrance. He looked nothing like the proud, confident man who had walked away from her months ago. His hair was unkempt, his clothes wrinkled, and his eyes sunken with exhaustion. Agnes took a deep breath, straightening her posture. "How can I help you?" she asked, her voice calm and composed. Jerry's eyes scanned the shop, disbelief written all over his face. "So, it's true," he muttered. "You really opened your own business?" Agnes folded her arms, maintaining her distance. "Yes, I did." Jerry shifted on his feet, struggling to meet her gaze. "You look different." Agnes's lips curved into a small smile. "I know." There was a long silence. Finally, Jerry's voice cracked. "I made a mistake, Agnes, leaving you. I thought money would make me happy, but I was wrong." Agnes's heart clenched, but she refused to let her emotions take over. "You didn't just leave me, Jerry. You broke me. You humiliated me. You threw me away like I was worthless." Jerry's eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry. I was blinded by greed. Please, can we start over?" Agnes's heart ached for the man standing before her, but not because she still loved him. She pitied him. The man who once made her feel small was now the one begging for another chance. Agnes took a slow step forward, her eyes steady. "Do you remember the last thing you said to me, Jerry? You called me a big pig and walked away without looking back." Jerry lowered his head in shame. Agnes's voice hardened. "You didn't love me when I was at my worst, so you don't deserve me at my best." Jerry's shoulders slumped. "But Agnes, I have nothing left." Agnes's eyes softened. "That's not my problem anymore." Jerry's mouth opened to speak, but no words came out. Agnes stood tall, her heart steady. "Goodbye, Jerry." Without another word, she turned and walked back to the kitchen, leaving Jerry standing alone, just like he had left her. Months turned into a year. Agnes's business flourished, opening 2 more branches across the city. She became a symbol of strength and inspiration for women everywhere, proving that no matter how broken life leaves you, it's never too late to rebuild. Sam stood by her side through every success, every challenge, and every milestone. On their first wedding anniversary, Sam surprised Agnes with a small candlelit dinner at home. The room was decorated with fairy lights, soft music playing in the background. Agnes sat at the table, tears brimming in her eyes. "I never thought life could be this beautiful," she whispered. Sam reached across the table, taking her hand. "You deserve every bit of happiness, Agnes." She smiled through her tears. "I wouldn't have made it here without you." Sam shook his head. "You made it because you found the strength inside yourself. I was just lucky enough to watch you rise." Agnes squeezed his hand, her heart full. "I love you, Sam. I love you more." Years later, Agnes became a motivational speaker, traveling across the country sharing her story with women who had lost hope. She stood on stages, wearing elegant dresses and speaking with confidence. Her message was simple. You are not defined by how others see you. You are defined by how you see yourself. In every crowd, there were women who cried listening to her journey, women who saw themselves in her story. Agnes became a voice for every woman who had ever been called too fat, too ugly, or not enough. And as she stood before those women, she carried one simple truth in her heart. The best revenge is becoming the woman they never believed you could be. Somewhere in the same city, Jerry sat alone in a small, dark apartment, scrolling through social media. He watched video clips of Agnes standing on grand stages, surrounded by applause. His heart ached with regret. He had traded a diamond for a cheap stone. And now, he would spend the rest of his life watching the woman he had once called a pig shine brighter than he ever could. But Agnes never spared him another thought. Her life was too full of happiness to look back. Agnes's story became an inspiration far beyond her small town. Her journey of transformation and self-love spread like wildfire on social media. Women from different parts of the country flooded her inbox, sharing their own struggles, seeking advice, and thanking her for giving them hope. She wasn't just a businesswoman anymore, she became a symbol of rebirth. One evening, as the sun set behind the glass walls of Agnes Delight's headquarters, Agnes sat in her private office, reading through emails from women who looked up to her. "Your story saved me. I was on the verge of giving up until I heard about your journey. You gave me the courage to leave a toxic relationship." Every message ignited a deeper fire within her. Sam walked in quietly, placing a cup of herbal tea on her desk. "You've been reading those messages again, haven't you?" Agnes looked up, her eyes shining. "I can't believe how many lives my story is touching, Sam." He smiled. "That's because you didn't just lose weight. You found your voice. And now you're helping others find theirs." Agnes's heart swelled. "I want to do more, Sam. I want to start an organization for women like me. Women who feel broken, women who don't know how to start over." Sam's smile widened. "Then let's do it." Within months, Agnes launched the Rise Again Foundation, a non-profit organization dedicated to helping women rebuild their lives after heartbreak, abuse, or self-doubt. The foundation provided free fitness programs, self-esteem workshops, and business mentorship for women who had lost everything. The opening ceremony was covered by major news channels. Reporters crowded around Agnes, microphones in hand. "Mrs. Agnes, what inspired you to start this foundation?" Agnes smiled, her voice steady. "I know what it feels like to be broken, to feel like you're not enough. But I also know that every woman carries a power inside her, a power to rise again. Sometimes, all we need is someone to remind us of that." The crowd erupted in applause. As the months passed, the Rise Again Foundation changed hundreds of lives. Women who had once felt invisible began to shine. Single mothers learned new skills. Overweight women found confidence through fitness programs. Victims of betrayal became entrepreneurs. Agnes personally mentored many of them, sharing not just weight loss tips, but the emotional strength it took to rebuild. One afternoon, Agnes was preparing for a motivational speech when her secretary walked into the office. "Ma'am, there's someone here to see you." Agnes looked up from her notes. "Who is it?" The secretary hesitated. "He says his name is Jerry." Agnes's heart skipped, but her face remained calm. "Let him in." The door opened slowly. Jerry stepped inside, looking more broken than ever, thinner, with gray strands in his hair and deep lines on his face. He clutched his hat nervously in his hands. Agnes stood tall behind her desk, exuding confidence. "Hello, Jerry." Jerry's eyes flickered around the elegant office, taking in the awards on the walls and the nameplate that read, "CEO, Agnes Benson." He swallowed hard. "You've done well for yourself." Agnes folded her arms. "I worked for everything I have." There was a heavy silence. Jerry's voice trembled. "I came to apologize for everything." Agnes remained calm. "I forgave you a long time ago, Jerry. Not for you, but for me." Jerry's eyes filled with tears. "I was a fool. I didn't see your worth." Agnes's eyes softened, but her voice stayed firm. "No, Jerry. You saw my worth. You just didn't think I would ever see it for myself." Jerry lowered his head, shame washing over him. "Do you think we could ever go back to the way things were?" Agnes's heart didn't even flinch. "No, Jerry. That chapter is closed." Jerry's eyes brimmed with regret. Agnes leaned forward, her voice gentle but strong. "You taught me the greatest lesson of my life. Never settle for someone who only loves you when you're at your best." Jerry's lips quivered. "Do you hate me?" Agnes smiled softly. "No. I thank you, because if you hadn't left me, I would have never found the woman I was always meant to be." Jerry's shoulders slumped. He nodded slowly, wiping his eyes. I wish I had seen that woman before I walked away. Agnes's voice was calm. I was always that woman, Jerry. You just weren't the man who deserved her. Jerry left quietly, disappearing from her life forever. Agnes stood by the window, watching him walk away. She felt nothing but peace. Years passed. Agnes's name became known across the country. Her businesses flourished. Her foundation expanded internationally. She published a best-selling book titled I Found Me, sharing her full journey with the world. The book sold millions of copies, translated into multiple languages. Agnes was invited to speak on global platforms, from women empowerment conferences to international business summits. She became a voice for every woman who had ever been called too fat, too ugly, or not enough. One day, after delivering a powerful speech at a women's conference, Agnes stood backstage, signing books. A young woman with tear-streaked cheeks approached her. You don't know me, but your story saved my life. I was in an abusive relationship, but after watching your journey, I finally walked away. Agnes's eyes filled with tears. She reached across the table, squeezing the woman's hand. You didn't just walk away, you rose again. By the time Agnes turned 50, she was listed as one of the top 100 most influential women in the world. She stood on the same stages as world leaders. Her face graced the covers of magazines. But no matter how famous she became, she always stayed rooted in one truth. Her journey started the day someone called her a pig, and she chose to become a queen. On her 60th birthday, surrounded by her family, Sam, and hundreds of women whose lives she had touched, Agnes stood to make a toast. She looked around the room, her eyes brimming with gratitude. I was once a woman who thought her life was over because one man stopped loving her. But today, I stand here because I learned to love myself. The room erupted in applause. Agnes raised her glass high. Here's to every woman who's ever been broken. May you rise, and may you shine brighter than they ever believed you could. Somewhere in the same city, Jerry watched the celebration on TV from a small one-room apartment. His eyes filled with tears as he whispered to himself, I lost a diamond while chasing worthless stones. But by then, Agnes had long forgotten his name. Thank you for watching. If Agnes's journey inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Would you have forgiven Jerry or built a new life like Agnes? Let's discuss in the comments below.